Why is it that the deeper we study the universe, the more hopeless it feels? Just imagine the universe appearing out of nowhere, from an infinitely small point, quietly expanding into what we see today. But what if this whole story was gift-wrapped, in a way perfectly tailored for human understanding? The truth might be stranger than we could ever imagine. So, in the next 40 minutes, I hope to take you on a mind-tingling journey through the cosmos, and wish you sweet dreams afterward. When you look up at the night sky, all the twinkling stars you see, the galaxies, the cosmic dust, together make up less than 5% of the universe's total matter. So, what's in that other mysterious 95%? It's made of things we can't see directly: dark matter, dark energy, and the omnipresent quantum field. Behind it all, could there be some hidden grand pattern? A code of incredible precision, a perfection so flawless it takes your breath away. Could all of this really be just random chance? Or was it deliberately designed? When we try to look at the universe through the lens of cutting-edge science and deep philosophical thought, our familiar worldview might be completely turned upside down. First, let's try to use the key of mathematics to decode the cosmos. You'll see that in those ultra-precise physical equations describing the workings of the universe, any fundamental constant, even if altered by the tiniest fraction, could collapse our entire reality. Take gravity, for example. If its strength were increased by just 0.00001%, stars would burn up too quickly, planets could never form, and life as we know it would vanish. This is the first great cosmic paradox we must face. Our existence is balanced on the tip of a set of perfectly calibrated physical constants. This extreme precision strongly suggests the hand of a designer. Yet science tells us that this apparent perfection might just be a statistical stroke of luck. In an infinite multiverse, there could be countless combinations of failed, chaotic realities, and we just happen to live in one where the parameters are just right. Between these two explanations, which do you find easier to accept? You might be wondering, if the universe was designed, then who or what is the designer? And if such a designer exists, then who designed the designer? At this point, it feels inevitable. We've fallen into an endless, matryoshka-like loop of logic. Perhaps that's why we have to admit the limits of our understanding and accept that in the face of the universe's mysteries, we're like ants trying to understand the architecture of a skyscraper. Even Einstein, hailed as one of the greatest minds in history, when faced with the moment time began, felt the limits of existing theories. He believed space is a vast mental construct, warped by mass and energy. Near mysterious black holes, time slows to a near standstill. Travel at the speed of light, and time stops entirely. And in the instant of the Big Bang, the very concept of time as we know it might not have existed at all. So before the universe's first expansion, there was no before to speak of. Asking what happened before the Big Bang is a bit like asking, what's north of the North Pole? It's a question rooted in our everyday experience, but in the vast universe, it loses all meaning under extreme conditions. The physical laws and logical instincts we've always trusted completely fail when faced with the true nature of the universe's origin. So, if you could reverse the flow of time and return to that very first, infinitely dense point of the universe, what would you see? The instant of creation, or something utterly beyond our imagination. A state that defies all current understanding. When it comes to the question of the universe's beginning, some physicists have proposed bold and daring theories. For example, the idea of an endlessly cycling universe. And think about your own existence for a moment. Every single atom in your body was forged billions of years ago in the blazing core of a dying star. It's no exaggeration to say you are a part of the universe's grand evolution. And the universe, in turn, seems to reflect on and experience itself through this strange phenomenon we call consciousness. Is this deep, fundamental connection between our bodies and the vast cosmos just a coincidence, or evidence of some grand design? And when we zoom into the microscopic world, the picture revealed by quantum physics completely overturns our traditional notions of reality and nothingness. It tells us, even what we think of as empty space is actually buzzing with endless activity. Virtual particles pop in and out of existence in the vacuum, while quantum fields constantly fluctuate and ripple beneath the seemingly smooth, peaceful surface of the vacuum. There's actually a seething, turbulent, ever-changing reality full of infinite possibilities. So, that absolute nothingness we once believed in may not exist at all. When viewed through the lens of quantum physics, yet all the known laws of physics we currently possess at the extreme moment of the Big Bang would completely break down. Our mathematical tools, our theoretical frameworks, none of them can describe what happened there. It's as if we've reached the very edge of human knowledge. Could that hypothetical designer be hidden right there at the mathematical boundary that our physics cannot penetrate? Or does it simply mark the limit of our current understanding? Either way, it fills us with a deep sense of awe and mystery. If we insist on introducing the idea of a creator or designer, what often follows is not answers, but even more difficult questions. For example, if a designer really fine-tuned the universe for life to appear, then why, across the vastness of the observable universe, does life seem so rare? Almost non-existent. The overwhelming majority of environments in the universe are extremely hostile to the kind of life we know. Even here on our lucky planet Earth, it's estimated that up to 99% of all species that have ever existed are now gone forever. Does this support the idea of intelligent design, or the absence of it? Or maybe it's simply because our perspective is far too narrow. We're carbon-based beings that evolved on a rocky planet, orbiting a stable star. Our definition of life, our understanding of consciousness, are naturally shaped and limited by our own form of existence. But what if life could exist in forms we can't even begin to imagine? What if consciousness could emerge inside the fiery plasma of a star, or be it formed somehow in the ultra-cold gases of interstellar clouds, in a way we can't yet imagine? What if the entire universe itself possessed some kind of diffuse awareness that we simply can't understand yet? When you start asking questions like that, the line between bold scientific speculation and cutting-edge physics theory becomes more and more blurred. Let's dive into another great mystery hanging over the cosmos. Dark energy, that strange, invisible force that seems to be driving the universe to expand faster and faster. Based on current estimates, it makes up a staggering 68% of the entire universe, yet we still have almost no idea what it actually is. Even stranger, the strength of dark energy seems to be perfectly tuned so that galaxies had enough time to form in the early universe without everything being torn apart by runaway expansion. Is that just another lucky coincidence? or a clue to the very nature of reality itself. A clue, and always paired with dark energy. Is dark matter? It makes up roughly another 27% of the universe. We can't see it, touch it, or detect it directly, yet. Its powerful gravity plays a vital role in shaping the large-scale structure of the cosmos, acting like an invisible cosmic scaffolding. Without this gravitational framework of dark matter, galaxies would fly apart, and stars themselves might never condense from the clouds of primordial gas. Which means we, naturally, would never have appeared on the cosmic stage. Do the math. All the ordinary matter that makes up everything we see around us is only a tiny sliver, less than 5%, of the whole universe. We, and everything we know, are actually the rare exception, not the rule. And yet here we are, with brains made of just that tiny 5% of matter, trying to understand all of this. That alone might be one of the universe's greatest mysteries. Why would a brain that evolved just to survive, reproduce, and avoid predators on Earth also develop abstract thinking? Why would it master ideas like quantum mechanics and general relativity, theories that describe the most extreme states of the universe? And how is it that the abstract mathematical models we create, pure products of human thought, can so precisely capture the deepest workings of physical reality? Does that suggest that our way of thinking somehow aligns with an underlying design or logic of the universe? Or is it just a coincidence that reality happens to choose mathematics as its fundamental language, when the famous double-slit experiment shook the world by revealing that subatomic particles change their behavior depending on whether they are observed? Our understanding of reality was thrown into unprecedented turmoil. Reality itself seems to shift depending on whether we're looking at it. What does that say about the strange connection between consciousness and the physical world? Could the observer, in some sense, be a fundamental part of reality itself? Around these baffling quantum effects, physicists have put forward all sorts of bold quantum interpretations. Some of them suggest that it's the act of consciousness itself that collapses the quantum wave function. In essence, it's saying that reality only exists when observed. Observation brings a definite reality into being. Other, more far-out interpretations, like the famous many worlds interpretation, suggest that every possible quantum outcome spawns its own universe, creating an infinitely branching multiverse, where every possible result happens somewhere. Some interpretations focus on the strange connection between particles, what Einstein famously called spooky action at a distance, known as quantum entanglement. Two entangled particles seem to instantly sense changes in each other, no matter how far apart they are. This completely defies our everyday understanding of cause and effect. All of these interpretations are often mathematically consistent, yet the realities they describe are all deeply mysterious and bizarre. If the multiverse theory is correct, then our universe is really just one bubble in an endless cosmic foam. And each bubble universe could have its own unique physical constants, laws of nature, and evolutionary history. In that case, the amazing harmony we see in our universe wouldn't be proof of design, but rather the result of selection bias. The only reason we find ourselves in a universe with just the right physical settings to allow life to exist is because in other universes, where the settings aren't life-friendly, there simply aren't any observers to ask why their universe is so special. This is known as the anthropic principle. It offers a seemingly scientific alternative to the idea of intelligent design. But for now at least, whether it's a supreme designer or a hidden multiverse beyond our reach, both lie far outside the scope of what science can currently prove or disprove. We, tiny specks born from billions of years of stellar evolution, carry within us a heart bold enough to use our crude instruments and limited intellect to peer into the depths of the cosmos, pondering the universe as a whole. It's from this seemingly humble perspective that we dare to ask the ultimate questions about the universe and the meaning of our own existence. Somehow, between the largest and smallest scales of reality, there seems to be a fascinating, almost magical symmetry. The large-scale cosmic web we observe, filaments of galaxies stretching for billions of light-years, bears a striking resemblance to the intricate network of neurons in our brains. And at the other extreme, down at the Planck scale, the restless quantum foam of spacetime is described in some theories in ways that seem to subtly echo this same complex network pattern. These similarities across such vast scales, are they just coincidences? Or do they hint that reality itself has some deep, fractal-like nature? The same patterns repeat themselves from the tiniest quantum realm all the way to the grandest cosmic scales, and some bold theoretical physicists even suggest that what we think of as matter and energy may not be the most fundamental components of reality at all. In the end, reality itself could be made entirely of information. The universe may be less like a physical object and more like a colossal information processing system, a grand cosmic computation, or perhaps an exquisitely designed simulation. From this perspective, the basic building blocks we observe. From this perspective, the basic examples we observe, and the forces between them, might just be information, encoded, transmitted, and processed at the most fundamental level of reality. If this guess is correct, then the designer of the universe might be less like a divine creator and more like a master-level programmer than a traditional god. But the question still remains: who wrote the code that runs our universe? And what kind of unimaginable hardware does it run on? It seems we've once again fallen into that familiar, endless nesting doll loop of logic. At this point, you might be wondering, are we just overthinking this? Maybe, without realizing it, we've been projecting our own human ideas about design and purpose onto something that might exist far beyond our limited categories. In reality, maybe the universe simply exists pure and simple. No built-in reason, no hidden agenda. All of our questions, confusions, and awe, they're just the products of a mind desperate to understand. When faced with the vast unknown, inevitably clinging to its own wishful thinking. Yet, just as we try to use the idea of simple existence to dissolve the complexity of the cosmos, the universe tosses us yet another puzzle. It draws us into a realm that's equally fundamental and packed with deep paradoxes. The world of entropy. The second law of thermodynamics tells us clearly: in any isolated, closed system, the total disorder entropy will always increase irreversibly. If we treat the universe as a closed system, it should follow this rule too, drifting from order to disorder, ending in a heat death. Yet, here's the twist. We highly ordered, incredibly complex life forms exist in a universe that should be trending toward chaos. Life itself seems to be a strange phenomenon that locally pushes back against the great tide of entropy. It does this by tapping into external energy flows. For example, Earth's life harnesses the sun's energy to build and maintain its structure and complexity. But this local decrease in entropy comes at the cost of a larger increase in entropy elsewhere. And it depends on being an open system with a constant energy gradient. For life on Earth, the sun provides that gradient. So, what gave the universe itself its initial low entropy starting point and the ongoing energy gradient for its evolution? If entropy always increases, does that mean the universe had to begin in a state of extremely low entropy extreme order? And why would it start in such an incredibly improbable state? To explain this early universe entropy mystery, some physicists suggest it's evidence for a cyclical universe model, one that goes through cycles of birth, expansion, contraction, and rebirth. Black holes might play a key role in resetting entropy. Others propose that our observable universe is just one low entropy patch that appeared by chance in a much larger cosmos. Another view suggests that the arrow of time we perceive, time always flowing from past to future, exists for one simple reason: it's just the large-scale reflection of the universe's overall entropy increase. And if there were a hypothetical region where entropy decreases, time itself might even appear to flow backwards. Now, let's explore an even more unsettling paradox: the Boltzmann brain paradox. Here's how this thought experiment begins. If the universe lasts long enough and is vast enough, then according to statistical mechanics and quantum theory, purely through random collisions and combinations, it is, in principle, entirely possible for chance to assemble something with a full set of memories and conscious experience, a brain existing all on its own. This Boltzmann brain, though, would exist for only the briefest moment. Yet, its subjective experience could be identical to yours right now. From a purely statistical standpoint, random chance is far more likely to create an isolated brain with false memories than to produce, by random chance, a universe like ours, with a long evolutionary history and a highly ordered internal structure. So does this mean that compared to being a real individual living in a real universe, you are more likely just a fleeting Boltzmann brain, imagining a reality that doesn't exist? Cold, hard math seems to point toward this disturbing conclusion. And that's exactly why physicists see it as a profound paradox demanding a solution. What's especially interesting is that our universe behaves very differently depending on the scale we observe. On a macroscopic scale, everything appears to follow deterministic physical laws with precise enough initial conditions and enough computing power. We could predict the future with astonishing accuracy. Yet, when we dive into the quantum scale, determinism seems to vanish. In its place is a kind of probability that appears utterly unavoidable. We can never predict exactly where an electron will be in the next moment, only the probability of its location. Some philosophers and theologians even see in this the possibility of free will. They suggest that quantum-level randomness and uncertainty might be a mechanism beyond physical law, subtly influencing and shaping reality without directly breaking known physical rules. So, is this randomness woven into reality's core, the universe's true nature? Or us the surface of some deeper determinism? Or could it actually be the very source of freedom? What is the true nature of this unpredictability, if quantum randomness is already enough to give us headaches? Then the concept of infinity, when tied to the scale and possibilities of the universe, might just be the greatest challenge to our limited human understanding. Some modern cosmological models suggest that the universe may be infinite in extent, beyond the part we can currently observe. Space may stretch on forever in all directions. If the universe truly is infinite, then probability theory leads us to a dizzying conclusion, one that's unavoidable. In an infinitely large space, any finite arrangement of matter that isn't strictly impossible must appear an infinite number of times. That means, somewhere in the endless vastness, there must be another Earth, identical to ours, home to another you, with the exact same DNA, the same memories, and maybe even, right at this very moment, thinking the exact same thoughts. This isn't some wild sci-fi fantasy. It's a logical conclusion drawn from the idea of infinite space and the fact that matter is limited in how it can be arranged. This kind of cosmic scale repetition, does it make your existence feel more meaningful? Or just the opposite, making your uniqueness feel small and powerless? Are you truly the one and only you? Or just a random outcome in an endless shuffle of the cosmos? A fleeting arrangement, destined to repeat forever. And even if we step back, even if our universe is limited in size, it could still be infinite in time. It could stretch endlessly into the future, or go through infinite cycles of cosmic rebirth. And further still, if the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics is correct, then reality branches infinitely at every tiny quantum event, like the endless splitting of tree limbs. This would create a vast multiverse, containing every possible outcome. Infinity stacked on infinity, and then more infinity, for minds like ours, with limited capacity. Trying to grasp this dizzying, infinite nesting dolls concept is almost impossible. So, is infinity a key that helps us unlock the deepest truths of the universe? Or is it simply a mathematical idea we invented, one that fails once our physics and math hit their limits? Right now, you might be wondering, what does all this grand talk about the cosmos have to do with my everyday life? Well, think of it this way. Every single atom in your body, without exception, has traveled across billions of years of cosmic history, forged in the fiery hearts of stars that died long ago. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, they were once part of distant stars. On that most fundamental level, you're not a separate, isolated being. Apart from the vast universe, you are an inseparable part of it. In fact, the universe uses beings like you, highly concentrated pockets of matter, with the ability to think and be aware, to reflect on itself, to experience and understand the world, whether this is the result of careful design or pure coincidence. The fact remains, you, a conscious being, capable of pondering these deep questions, exist right here, right now, in the story of the universe. Isn't that, in itself, something worth marveling at? A real, undeniable miracle. And yet, the most basic mysteries of the cosmos remain unsolved. We still don't know why there is something rather than nothing. Why the physical constants that govern the universe are exactly what they are. Whether our universe is truly unique, or us one among countless others in a vast multiverse. Whether it had a definite beginning, or has existed forever. Whether our consciousness is simply the product of matter becoming extremely complex, or a deeper, fundamental property of the universe, whether the reality we live in is driven by some ultimate purpose, or simply exists without any preset meaning or direction. These huge gaps in our understanding might one day be filled by science, or they might represent the ultimate limits of the human mind. Some truths we may never fully see through, a universe forever beyond our grasp, or maybe it's the very question we keep asking: who actually designed the universe? Maybe the very way we ask that question has a fundamental flaw from the start. Could the question itself, without us realizing it, already be built on human-centered assumptions that might not apply to the ultimate reality of the cosmos? We humans are used to thinking in terms of cause and effect, beginnings and endings, intention and purpose. But at its most fundamental level, the way the universe works might be far beyond our macro-scale experiences, intuitions, and categories. Think about quantum entanglement. Particles that can instantly affect each other, no matter how far apart they are, challenging our traditional ideas about locality. Or think about what general relativity revealed: that space and time are unified into a single, dynamic four-dimensional structure, overturning our old notions of before and after. And if closed time-like curves could exist in theory, then the idea of a first cause would lose all meaning. So maybe the universe isn't, after all, the kind of thing an outside intelligence designed. Maybe it's more like a spontaneous, emergent phenomenon from within, like the intricate frost patterns that appear on a winter window pane, formed naturally from the quantum possibilities and basic interaction rules built into reality itself, crystallizing into order all on their own. Perhaps the universe self-generated through some kind of cosmic scale feedback loop, existing in a cycle that goes beyond our linear idea of time, creating the very initial conditions needed for itself to exist. Or B, the universe's evolution is more like natural selection. Out of countless cosmic seeds that could exist, only those with the right physical parameters for complexity and life to emerge survive and keep evolving. And yet, we can't completely rule out the possibility that there actually is a designer. But maybe not the kind of personal God we imagine. Maybe instead, it's some kind of cosmic intelligence or fundamental principle operating at higher dimensions or deeper layers of reality we can't yet comprehend. If such an intelligence exists, how would we reconcile it with the Drake equation and the contradiction between its predictions and the great silence we observe? According to the Drake equation's estimates for the number of intelligent civilizations in the Milky Way, there should be thousands, maybe even millions. Yet so far, the universe has been utterly silent. Does this silence mean that technological civilizations inevitably destroy themselves? Or that there are fundamental barriers to interstellar communication or travel? Are we truly alone? Or more unsettling still, have advanced civilizations chosen to hide themselves for some reason? If we really are alone, the only intelligent beings in the observable universe, then what does that say about the idea of design? Wouldn't a carefully designed universe be full of life and intelligence? Or is a single intelligent species, capable of reflecting on the cosmos, already the ultimate goal of such a design? On the flip side, if the universe wasn't designed, should we expect life to be common or incredibly rare? The puzzle is whether alien intelligence exists or not. It doesn't give us a clear answer to the question of whether the universe was designed. It just reframes the ancient mystery from a fresh perspective. And now, if the universe wasn't designed, should we expect life to be everywhere? Or expect it to be extremely rare? Here's the puzzling thing. whether alien intelligence exists or not, doesn't seem to give us a clear answer to the question of whether the universe was designed. It just reframes this age-old riddle from a new perspective. Now, let's take an even bolder leap. What if the universe really does have civilizations more advanced than us? Maybe they've long since surpassed the biological limits we know. Through advanced technology, they might have stepped into a whole new post-biological era. A civilization like that, their form of existence, their way of communication, could be nothing like what we can imagine. They might have uploaded their minds into artificial constructs, or evolved into beings of pure energy, living inside stars, or even within black hole event horizons. Their sense of time and scale of action might be wildly different from ours. So much so that our mere few decades of radio astronomy wouldn't even come close to catching the faintest trace of them. The universe's apparent darkness and silence could be hiding intelligence far beyond what we're currently able to comprehend. And pushing it further, what if the universe itself, at its most fundamental level, is actually a kind of mind or consciousness? This ancient idea, called panpsychism, has been regaining attention in recent years. It suggests that consciousness is not just a byproduct of a complex brain, but a deeper, universal property embedded within matter itself. It's built into the fabric of reality. Modern theories like integrated information theory (IIT) also try to make sense of consciousness, arguing that it's tied to a system's ability to integrate information. That level of integration, they say, could happen not only in the human brain, but in many other natural systems, or even across the universe as a whole. If that's true, could the universe itself be one massive mind, holding a kind of integrated consciousness beyond anything we can even begin to imagine? And could our individual human minds be nothing more than tiny thinking nodes inside this grand cosmic mind? These ideas might sound a bit out there, but the reason they're seriously discussed is that they shine a light on the deepest core of our existence, the most fundamental and baffling mystery of all. Consciousness itself, that inner, subjective world we each directly experience. Science still can't fully explain it. Even with our most advanced physics, how does a physical brain, something objective and material, give rise to a subjective, first-person experience? This hard problem of consciousness, as philosophers call it, might be the key not just to understanding the brain, but to understanding reality itself. If consciousness really is a basic property of the universe, and not just an accidental byproduct of matter, then the cosmos stops looking like a cold, soulless machine, and more like something alive, with an inner spirit, maybe even a vast mind of its own. When we dig into the nature of consciousness, the line between science and philosophy gets increasingly blurry. Some physicists, starting from the nature of time, have proposed a view that flips our everyday experience completely on its head. The feeling that time flows may just be a kind of illusion in our perception. In a model known as the block universe, past, present, and future all exist equally in a static four-dimensional space-time structure. Your birth, your life experiences, your death, and even this very moment, where you're reading these words, are all just points in an eternally existing block of space-time, each at a different location. From this perspective, nothing truly happens or changes. In the real sense, everything simply exists eternally This highly deterministic view of the universe seems, in a way, to support the design hypothesis that the cosmos is like an epic story, with every plot and ending already written. But this idea immediately raises deep philosophical questions about whether free will exists and what meaning life truly holds. In sharp contrast, other physicists propose almost the exact opposite. They believe the future isn't completely fixed. It's still open, and to some extent, is shaped by the choices and actions of conscious beings in the universe. Physicist John Wheeler's participatory anthropic principle is a classic example of this. He boldly suggested that observers, especially conscious ones, through their very existence and actions, are essential in bringing the universe out of quantum potential and into the definite reality we perceive. There might be a profound cosmic scale feedback loop between consciousness and reality. In Wheeler's own words, the universe gave birth to consciousness, but consciousness gives the universe meaning. This perspective offers a fascinating middle ground between pure design theory and pure randomness. The evolution of the universe might be partly due to inherent physical necessity, partly due to unpredictable quantum randomness, and partly shaped by the participation of conscious beings capable of observation and choice. Now, let's look at some strange phenomena that challenge our sense of reality stability, like the so-called Mandela effect. This refers to a large group of people sharing vivid but false memories of historical events or details that never actually happened. Are these collective memory glitches just the result of human memory's natural unreliability, everyone just remembering wrong? Or could there be something far stranger behind it? Some bolder theories suggest that consciousness might not be fully bound to our single physical universe. In a multiverse framework, could consciousness under extremely rare and special circumstances make some sort of leap between parallel universes with very similar properties, thereby bringing fragments of memory from one reality into another where they don't belong? Others think that reality itself might be far more fluid and malleable than we imagine, and that, to some extent, it could be deeply influenced by our state of consciousness and our acts of observation. While mainstream science prefers to explain this as simple human error, these anomalies should at least remind us to reflect on just how much our perception of reality is something our minds actively create, not just a passive reaction to the outside world. Now, let's dive into an even more mind-bending thought experiment. What if our entire universe, including us, is nothing more than an incredibly complex computer simulation? Everything we've ever experienced is just lines of code running on a super-universe computer we can't even imagine. This idea, known as the simulation hypothesis, has gained more and more attention in recent years from top physicists, computer scientists, and philosophers. The core logic goes like this: if a civilization reaches a high enough level of technology, it will almost inevitably be capable of creating incredibly realistic simulations, and potentially an enormous number of them. From a statistical standpoint, it's far more likely we're living in one of countless simulated worlds than in the one and only base reality. And if we asterisk our asterisk in a simulation, then the designers become very real. They're simply the programmers who wrote the code for our simulated universe. But here's the catch. That still doesn't answer the ultimate question of who designed the designers. It just pushes the question one layer further back. Once again, we're stuck in that endless Matryoshka doll loop. Maybe all these questions about the universe eventually boil down to one profound mystery. Why does anything exist at all? Instead of nothing, why is there something rather than nothing? This question has haunted philosophers for millennia. Some modern physics theories, like quantum field theory's description of the vacuum, suggest that nothing is inherently unstable. Quantum fluctuations inevitably give rise to something from nothing. But again, this just shifts the question back. Why does such a quantum vacuum exist at all? Why do the laws that govern the universe even exist? Why is our reality structured in a way that allows for complexity and ultimately for consciousness to emerge and evolve? No known scientific theory can truly answer these ultimate existence questions, starting from absolute zero. Because every scientific explanation has to assume the existence of something first. This ultimate mystery, why existence itself exists, may actually be the deepest form of the design question. After all our questioning and debating, the most profound way to phrase it might be not who designed the universe, but why is there a universe? For us to even discuss whether it was designed, how it evolved, or why it exists in this particular form, all of that comes after the fact that there is a universe in the first place. And if, behind the reality we perceive, there truly is some cosmic purpose or deeper intent beyond our comprehension, then it may be so far beyond the reach of the human mind that even the questions we're asking right now might never be able to grasp it. Not even close. It could simply lie far beyond our capacity to understand. And in the end, maybe that's the most humbling thought of all. What if there really is some kind of purpose on a cosmic scale, or a deeper intent beyond our comprehension? Then maybe it lies far, far beyond the reach of our limited minds and our human understanding. So much so that the very questions we ask might seem naive and laughable by comparison, like trying to grasp nuclear physics using the language and logic of ants. Or maybe there's another possibility, that simply existing is the only logical, inevitable state, the only state that could ever be, and impossible is nothing more than a false idea born from the limits of human thought. When we bravely stand at the furthest edge of human knowledge and gaze into the unfathomable abyss of the universe's mysteries, we're forced to face a humbling truth that the little we know is perhaps most valuable. For one reason, it shows us with even greater clarity just how vast our ignorance truly is. Every tough question we manage to answer almost instantly sparks new ones, more complex than before. Every great scientific breakthrough expands the borders of our knowledge, yet without fail reveals even wider lands of the unknown. The universe, it's not just stranger than we imagine. It might be stranger than what our very capacity for imagination can ever possibly reach. Even stranger than that, whether it was masterfully designed by some transcendent intelligence, or naturally emerged from an inherent physical necessity, or arose purely from blind, cosmic chance, or exists in some way that is entirely beyond all the categories we currently know, a way we can barely even describe. The reality, this universe that includes us within it, remains the ultimate mystery, waiting for us to explore and interpret. We're not mere spectators standing outside this puzzle. We ourselves are an inseparable part of it. And the most astonishing thing is, despite facing such immense unknowns and overwhelming challenges, humanity has never stopped asking questions, never stopped exploring, never lost that curiosity rooted deep in life itself. Maybe it's this tireless curiosity, this unyielding spirit of inquiry, that carries a profound meaning of its own. Maybe one of the deepest driving forces behind the evolution of consciousness is simply to think about and understand the universe that gave it life. Maybe we, beings with self-awareness and the ability to reflect, are the universe's way of knowing and exploring itself. Like billions of eyes opening at once, in the endless dark, gazing outward at the vast night sky, and inward into the depths of consciousness, all searching together for the answer to the very first question that began our journey: who or what designed this universe? Maybe that answer will never be set in stone. But the search itself, that's where the meaning lies. Thank you for listening. I hope this journey through cosmic thought has sparked something in you. Good night, and sweet dreams.